The world is a chorus of voices, thousands of languages, each a unique expression of human thought and experience. But this chorus is fading. Every 2 weeks, a language dies. With it goes a culture, a way of life, a unique perspective on the world. We are facing a crisis of language extinction. Language is the bedrock of culture. It is how we communicate, share stories, and pass down traditions. When a language disappears, so too does a part of our shared human heritage. We lose the knowledge, the wisdom, and the perspectives that language held. This loss is immeasurable. It is a loss for the communities whose languages are vanishing. It is a loss for all of humanity. We must act now to preserve these endangered languages. We must understand why they are disappearing and what we can do to save them. The time to act is now. Language is more than just words. It is the very essence of a culture. Embedded within a language are the traditions, beliefs, and values of a people. It is the key to understanding their history, their relationship with the natural world, and their unique perspective on life. Consider the Seri people of Mexico. Their language contains a wealth of knowledge about the sea and its creatures. They have names for different types of waves, for the sounds of marine animals, and for the subtle changes in the ocean's currents. This knowledge, passed down through generations, is essential to their survival as a people. Statistics paint a stark picture of the crisis we face. Out of the 7,000 languages spoken today, nearly 40% are endangered. This means that thousands of years of accumulated knowledge and cultural diversity are at risk of being lost forever. Losing a language is like losing a library. It is a loss of irreplaceable knowledge and wisdom. We must act to preserve these languages, not just for the sake of those who speak them, but for the benefit of all humankind. Imagine the weight of an entire culture resting on your shoulders. This is the reality for the last fluent speakers of endangered languages. They are the keepers of ancient wisdom, the living embodiment of traditions passed down through generations.
In the remote Andaman Islands of India, Boa Senior, the last speaker of the Bo language, passed away in 2010. With her death, an entire way of life, a unique understanding of the world, vanished forever. Her stories, her songs, her knowledge of the forest, all gone.
The Ainu people of Japan face a similar crisis. Their language, a language isolate with no known connection to any other, is critically endangered. Only a handful of fluent speakers remain, their voices whispers of a once thriving culture. These stories are not isolated incidents, they are repeated around the world, a symphony of silence slowly enveloping the rich tapestry of human languages. Globalization, for all its benefits, has cast a long shadow over the world's languages. The rise of global commerce and communication has led to the dominance of a few major languages, often at the expense of indigenous tongues.
English, Mandarin, Spanish, these languages have become the lingua francas of the modern world. While this facilitates global communication, it also creates pressure to abandon traditional languages, especially among younger generations eager to participate in the globalized world.
The allure of economic opportunity and social mobility often draws people away from their traditional communities and languages. Children are often educated in the dominant language, leaving them disconnected from their linguistic heritage. The result is a gradual erosion of linguistic diversity as languages are slowly abandoned. Urbanization's march often leaves languages behind as rural communities migrate to urban centers. In search of better opportunities, languages are, often left behind.
Cities, while hubs of diversity, can also be melting pots where languages blend and disappear.
Imagine a family leaving their rural village for the bustling streets of a mega city.
The children grow up speaking the dominant language of the city, their ancestral tongue fading into a distant memory.
This process, repeated countless times, contributes to the decline of indigenous languages.
It is crucial to find ways to support the preservation of indigenous languages, even in urban settings.
Section 6. Historical Policies Silencing Indigenous Voices. The legacy of colonialism and assimilationist policies continues to haunt the world's languages. Throughout history, dominant groups have often sought to suppress indigenous languages as a way of asserting control and erasing cultural identities. In many parts of the world, indigenous children were forcibly removed from their families and placed in boarding schools where they were forbidden from speaking their native languages. These policies, designed to assimilate indigenous populations into the dominant culture, had a devastating impact on linguistic diversity.
Even today, the effects of these policies linger. Many indigenous communities are struggling to revive their languages after generations of suppression. The healing process is slow and arduous, but it is essential for restoring cultural pride and ensuring the survival of these languages.
Section 7. Reviving the Echoes, Success Stories of Language Renewal. Despite the challenges, there is hope. Around the world, communities are working tirelessly to revive their endangered languages. These efforts, often grassroots movements driven by a deep sense of cultural pride, are showing remarkable success.
In Israel, the revival of Hebrew is a testament to the power of language revitalization. Once a language spoken primarily in religious contexts, Hebrew was brought back from the brink of extinction to become the official language of Israel.
The Maori language of New Zealand faced a similar crisis. But through dedicated efforts, including language immersion schools and government support, it has experienced a resurgence. The Maori language is now taught in schools throughout New Zealand, and its use in everyday life is increasing. These success stories offer valuable lessons for other communities fighting to save their languages. They demonstrate that language revitalization is possible with sustained effort, community involvement, and government support.
Section 8. A Call to Action, Preserving Linguistic Diversity. The time for complacency is over. We must act now to preserve the world's linguistic diversity. This is not just a task for linguists and academics, but a collective responsibility for all of humanity. We must support the efforts of communities working to revitalize their languages. We must encourage language documentation and research. We must create educational materials and programs that promote linguistic diversity.
Governments have a crucial role to play in this effort. They must enact policies that support language revitalization, fund language immersion programs, and promote the use of indigenous languages in education and public life. Every language saved is a victory for cultural diversity, a triumph of human resilience, and a gift to future generations. Section 9, Our Shared Future, A Tapestry of Tongues. Imagine a future where the world's languages are not fading whispers, but vibrant expressions of human diversity. Imagine a world where children grow up speaking their ancestral languages, where ancient wisdom is passed down through generations, and where the tapestry of human experience is woven from a rich array of linguistic threads. This is the future we must strive to create. A future where linguistic diversity is celebrated, where languages are seen as treasures to be cherished, and where the chorus of human voices continues to resonate for generations to come.
The fate of the world's languages lies in our hands. Let us choose to be the generation that stops the silence, that amplifies the voices of the marginalized, and that ensures that the symphony of human language continues to play on.